Music is a form of storytelling, which is what I do in my photographs, because I feel like a lot of girls are very insecure about certain things. And ever since I was little, I would always make fun of my gap. And I can't, I still, to this day, I'm still like, it's like a habit to like kind of talk like this.
They say only truth can free your spirit, but sometimes speaking out against a powerful figure brings even more pain. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the controversy surrounding Melanie Martinez, the pop star who transitioned from indie darling to accused abuser. This isn't just a story about allegations. It's about how one person used ambiguity, silence, and a devoted fan base to sidestep accountability. Trigger warning, this video discusses sensitive topics related to sexual assault.
I think I left the faucet running. Now my words are filling up the tub.
Whether you know who I am or not, I ask you to please listen to my story. If you do recognize me, then you haven't heard from me in a couple of years. And that's because I was effectively run off the internet. You also may have heard that I admitted to lying or that it was proven that I lied. Neither are true.
In 2024, Timothy Heller returned to the spotlight, reigniting a firestorm she first sparked in 2017. Through a series of TikTok videos, she didn't just repeat her previous accusations against Melanie Martinez. She provided new details and claimed to have fresh receipts that painted an even clearer picture of what happened. She revealed the relentless harassment she faced from Melanie's fans and called out the singer for never taking true accountability.
While there were some supporters, the majority of the followers were people who actively hated me. I suddenly had thousands of hate accounts dedicated to me, thousands of dislikes and negative comments on all of my music.
Timothy's renewed accusations directly challenged both Melanie's silence and the fan base that protected her for years. This wasn't just a recap. It was a call to action against a toxic culture that lets celebrities dodge serious allegations with vague denials and strategic silence. To understand what's happening now, we need to go back to December 2017. Timothy Heller took to Twitter, sharing her story of a night that allegedly went from a friendly sleepover with Melanie Martinez to a situation where her boundaries were crossed multiple times. According to Heller, she said no repeatedly, but her refusals were ignored. The internet erupted. Fans were shocked, struggling to reconcile these accusations with Melanie's public image, a quirky artist with a dark, whimsical style. Yet many immediately rushed to Melanie's defense, unwilling to accept that the singer they adored could be involved in such an incident.
She's also an American singer-songwriter who lives in LA, and she's a former close friend of Melanie Martinez. Timothy met Melanie back in 2014.
Melanie's response was key in shaping the public's reaction. In her statement, she said, "She never said no to what we chose to do together." This phrase is crucial. By stating what we chose to do together, Melanie seems to indirectly acknowledge that something intimate may have occurred. Yet she avoids any direct mention of what happened, allowing for multiple interpretations.
She never said no, but you didn't say she said yes, Melanie, and that's important, okay? Let me just clarify. That doesn't prove anything, but it does add an important keynote to what we're talking about.
This ambiguity was no accident. Melanie's statement didn't deny the accusations outright. It danced around the issue, leaving just enough room for doubt to paint Timothy as unreliable. Her use of the phrase, "sending her love and light always," seemed more about preserving her image as a kind, enlightened artist rather than addressing the gravity of the allegations. The result? A muddled narrative that kept her fan base intact and cast enough shadows to make Timothy's story appear less credible.
Ridiculous how victims are expected to have to pursue prosecution in order to be believed. Because Timothy didn't have the resources and influence that Melanie Martinez did and wasn't able to pursue a court case effectively because of that, people are saying she's not a victim.
Victims who speak out against powerful figures face a daunting battle. Melanie Martinez wasn't just any artist. She was a rising star with a devoted fan base and an image that portrayed her as vulnerable and misunderstood. This persona acted as a shield, making it easy for fans to dismiss any negative stories about her.
This is so dumb. Timothy is a grown adult who can take this to court. I get it how tough it is for the topic, but also she is randomly bringing it up 7 years later.
Timothy, thanks. I'm just glad that some of you guys could see that's what happened to me. That I feel like I was manipulated by her, and it makes me feel not crazy too. That some of you guys can see that. That's the only reason I told my story, is because I knew that.
When Timothy came forward, Melanie used this fame and carefully constructed persona to her advantage. Her vague response was a calculated move, one that leveraged her public image to maintain support without having to fully deny or admit to anything.
This is something that can ruin, will. That's why I appreciate I don't know her name, but I appreciate her coming now with, again, a more polished approach, because just throwing out random dates, saying things happened, providing false proof that it happened previously, that could have ruined Melanie Martinez.
She relied on the public's doubt and her fans' loyalty to do the heavy lifting, letting them attack and discredit Timothy.
Number 19. Melanie has an alibi for the dates of the alleged rape. She was in New York while Timothy was in California. Timothy always throws a fit when you bring this up, so I'm going to assume we're on to something and cover this topic in more detail later in the video.
The backlash against Timothy Heller was swift and intense. Melanie's fans, feeling empowered by their idol's vague statement, took it upon themselves to defend her. They combed through social media, looking for any inconsistencies that could discredit Timothy. Hate messages, threats, and even doxing attempts were unleashed to silence her. Meanwhile, Melanie's camp was not idle. Behind the scenes, her team appeared to be carefully managing the situation. Statements were controlled, interviews were scripted, and Melanie focused on her music and visual art to subtly shift the narrative. This tactic kept her relevant while avoiding direct confrontation with the allegations. Melanie's statement, "She never said no to what we chose to do together," opens up a crucial discussion on consent, particularly when power dynamics and emotional manipulation are involved. Melanie attempts to blur the lines, suggesting consent was given because there was no explicit no. But consent isn't simply about not saying no, it's about enthusiastically saying yes without coercion or pressure. Timothy's account reveals a scenario of repeated pressure and manipulation, where the lines of consent were crossed. Melanie's insistence on mutual agreement obscures these complexities, allowing her to evade responsibility while appearing to address the situation.
Just need to keep, doing that, and it's so annoying. You ever get that? It's just insane.
This issue is not just limited to Melanie and Timothy. It's part of a broader pattern we've seen in recent years. Consider the controversy surrounding comedian Chris D'Elia, who was accused of preying on younger women under the guise of mentorship, allegedly leveraging his status and influence to coerce consent.
Actor licking a crystal substance out of his friend's hand.
Armie Hammer is the named suspect in an alleged assault investigation.
She has found the courage to discuss what she alleges has happened to her. She wants to warn other women who may come into contact with Mr. Hammer.
Or take the recent allegations against Armie Hammer, where his defense hinged on the claim of consensual BDSM, ignoring the crucial aspect that consent can be compromised by the power imbalance between a high-profile actor and his partners. Melanie's fans played a key role in shielding her from accountability. Their blind loyalty created a toxic environment where questioning Melanie was akin to betrayal. This dynamic reflects a broader issue in celebrity culture, where fans often prioritize devotion over holding their idols accountable.
But Melanie confirmed that they did it, but Tim never said no. Melanie also mentions that they both were high as In my opinion, it's kind of suspicious how Timothy came out about this the year Melanie got an award for the Best Female Artist.
However, as Timothy resurfaced with new details in 2024, some fans began to reconsider their stance. This shift shows that fan culture can change, and accountability can be demanded even from the most beloved figures. Melanie's response was a masterclass in damage control. By avoiding direct answers and relying on vague statements, she left room for doubt while allowing her fan base to do the work of discrediting Timothy. She continued to shape her public image through her music and visuals, using strategic silence and ambiguity to ride out the controversy without facing direct consequences. For Timothy Heller, speaking out meant paying a heavy price. Her career was effectively derailed, her personal life was invaded, and she endured a barrage of online harassment and threats.
Gained tens of thousands of followers. While there were some supporters, the majority of the followers were people who actively hated me. I suddenly had thousands of hate accounts dedicated to me, thousands of dislikes and negative comments on all of my music, and completely ridiculous fabricated stories of me being posted online.
Meanwhile, Melanie's career continued relatively unscathed. This stark contrast highlights a troubling reality where the accused, especially if famous, often continue their careers with minimal impact, while the victims face lasting repercussions. Look no further than the recent cases that have gripped the public's attention. FKA Twig's battle against Shia LaBeouf's alleged abuse, and how she faced doubts and scrutiny far more than her accused counterpart, whose career, while impacted, has not faced the same level of scrutiny.
That's nice to have flowers outside my door. Now I think that's inappropriate to jump over the fence of where I'm living. That's breaking a boundary, but it didn't stop there.
Or take Evan Rachel Wood, who continues to endure a never-ending war with Marilyn Manson, a saga that highlights just how punishing the path to justice can be for survivors.
I was really in such denial and in too much shame to admit to myself that maybe I'd gone down the wrong path.
These cases echo a disturbing pattern. The brave individuals who come forward often find their own lives dissected and doubted, while those accused seem to bounce back with the resilience of a rubber ball, buoyed by PR strategies, legal teams, and often a disturbingly forgiving fan base.
So Crybaby was kind of just the start of introducing the character, Crybaby, to everyone. And then K through 12 was kind of like, you know, her school years. And
where do we go from here? The Melanie Martinez controversy is more than a singular incident. It reflects systemic issues in how we handle allegations against powerful figures. It's time to shift the conversation towards believing victims, demanding transparency, and holding everyone accountable, regardless of their status. And all the while, Melanie Martinez's career seemed to move on without so much as a speed bump, cruising through tours, music releases, and Instagram fanfare, largely unaffected. Melanie may have weathered the storm for now, but the questions around her actions won't disappear. This case should prompt us to reconsider how we engage with celebrity culture and address serious allegations.
Nice to know ya, let's do it again. How we end up in a one-night stand. Maybe wanna be more than a friend. Do ya?
This isn't just about Melanie Martinez and Timothy Heller. It's a bigger conversation about power, accountability, and the lengths some will go to protect their image. As we continue to discuss these issues, we must commit to supporting those who speak out and critically evaluating the actions of public figures.
There's rotten things left in me.
What's your take? Is Melanie a misunderstood artist, or is there more beneath the surface that needs to be revealed? Share your thoughts, hit that like button, and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that matter.